Nicholas Montez, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Nicholas Montez. Welcome back to another YouTube channel for everybody. I'm so excited to have y'all back here together again. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing another end of the month list. Today we're talking about the new releases that I saw this month, and we're ranking them from the worst to the best. So let's go ahead and get started ranking all 6 of these movies. Now this movie was a little bit I was kind of excited for because, you know, it had to do with like the plot line of quarantine and people like being quarantined and all that stuff, and there's parts of it that feel a lot relatable, but the entire movie is pretty much just all these cool actors of Karen Gillan, Keegan-Michael Key, but just doing gross stuff and doing awkward stuff. Like, there's a bunch of sex jokes, there's a bunch of weird humor. Like, Pascal, the guy that played Mandalorian, he keeps asking all these people, do you want to have sex with me? Like, bro, like, what is the whole point of it? Like, I get it's a joke, but it's really not that funny. And this movie was just awful. It was just awful. Now, this is a movie that I actually did like. So, The Bubble is just pretty much the only bad film on this list. Every other movie on this list is pretty much better than The Bubble. And I actually did like Metal Lords. It had some good stuff in it. You know, I like to see the guy that played the awkward stuttering kid from It into a new role like this that is about rock, or metal, if you can say. And it was cool. You know, it was kind of funny. There was a lot of F-bombs, a lot of cursing, and I guess that's kind of the enjoyment of the film. I don't really know what else to say because I haven't seen it since it first came out on Netflix, so just go watch my review for it, but overall, I did like it. Now, this was actually a much better film than all these other movies that came before, and honestly, I knew nothing about this book. I know nothing about any of this Better Nate Than Ever. But it was a fine little musical about these kids that want to go onto Broadway to do this not high school musical, Lilo and Stitch show. It was fun enough, but it was my favorite. But it still was pretty fun. Now, this movie I actually liked a lot more than most people. I love the way that they actually do the horror vibe, and like there's a scene, like there's really 2 scenes that really I absolutely loved. It's really the scene when the girl's in this like diner place. She has like the computer set up all in front of her, and the waitress keeps like breaking glass, and then the computer on the screen tells her like clean up or keep smashing glass, and then she like types in clean up. And then the waitress just starts eating the glass. And I'm like, my face was literally like, oh my god, like, why is this happening? And I'm like, I was like, oh, like I feel intensified in this scene. And then there's this scene where you're like in a video game mode, and like the girl's trying to help her mom get away from this rat thing. And it's like, it's so suspenseful, and then like the whole room like electrifies everything, and it's like it's loud, it's big, and I'm like, this is a great way to do a horror film. Even though you don't know what exactly is happening, you love it. And that's really the best thing that this film did for me. Now, this was a great way to basically do Earth Day of 2022. Where they basically told the story of polar bears dealing with climate change, and I thought it was a pretty satisfying film. Of course, the thing you come to these movies is just to see animals do adorable things. And once again, you get polar bears doing adorable things, rolling on their backs, which reminded me a lot like my dog does, where she's just being all cute and funny. But it's also just a deep film, where you explore this family as they're dealing with climate change, as they are eating seals, as sometimes, even though polar bears, their environment is in the cold, Sometimes they might die from the cold. Uh, like the only way they could get seals is if they're on land. Um, Sometimes they would leave and go off on to other places, and they would never meet other winter snow bears for years or months. And then also, that's the interesting thing about it. But also, I think the best thing about it is, of course, the shots. All the shots are really great. So some of them do look unreal though, and I don't really like the shots that they do like above the polar bears. But overall, I thought this was a very good movie, and I definitely recommend if you have not watched it. It's from Disney Nature. Go check it out. Okay, so unlike Polar Bear, where that was like a real film with great shots, this is a movie that I don't even know where to begin. So I actually did. So if you're wondering, I did watch this movie when it first came out, like the weekend it came out, not the day it came out. I don't do that. And I wasn't planning on to, because I watched it on Sunday, and Sundays aren't days that I watch movies, like new releases. So I watched it, and I have to say, this was a great film. This was a really good movie. First off, the animation, the animation is simply stunning. Every shot looks real, like you're literally watching an animated clip come to life. And that's brilliant in the way they can do animation these days. But it's not just the animation that makes this movie so cool. It's really just also the story and the way Jack Black is telling it, and as he's like describing of basically how life was back in the day, where where your parents would make this type of food, and even like the little clips that you get of real life events of like John F. Kennedy doing his big speech, but even then, the story about this kid doing this astronaut stuff, and then like even when he throws up, like the animation just looks all cool, and it's just a really good movie. Granted, I'm not the biggest fan of like the premise of him going on the astronaut journey, but the overall movie itself and the way that it does the animation style and the way it actually describes how life was back in the day in this sort of animation style, I thought was really cool. So for me, this is actually a really good movie, so that's why it comes in at number 1 for my favorite movie of April of 2022. Alright, so that's my list. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff is in the about section over there, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.